comes up swinging for one of the better offenses, not just in the SEC, but in the country. Cassidy Pickering riding a 14-game hit streak at the top of the Oklahoma Sooner lineup. And it is quickly 0-2 to the starting left fielder.
And right away, Cassidy Pickering communicating into the Oklahoma dugout. What you just saw in that pitch, they're so good at communicating all game long.
It's an Oklahoma offense that is one of the best at getting on base. When they get on base.
And they just make you feel like you have to be perfect, as Pickering fouled that one into her leg and wants to walk it off a little bit. But they're so disciplined, continually at the top of the nation and on base percentage because of their walks and their eye at the plate.
Yeah, Pickering putting together a nice first at bat here for Oklahoma. Sooners, number 2 in the country, 35-3. All 3 losses coming in SEC play. And the 0-2 misses low and wide.
And Caitlin Riley looks amped up, ready to go in this game. You see that little extra bounce in her step after some of these pitches, working from ahead. And then really changing speeds all throughout this great at bat that Cassidy Pickering has put together.
8th pitch of the at bat coming.
What
a full count.
To take that pitch, look at her work her way back to this full count. This is why she is just continuing to get on base game after game after game, and why Patty Gasso has her in the leadoff spot.
Lines this deep to left field, back on it, Johnson, and makes a leaping catch into the wall.
Wouldn't expect this game to start out any other way. A veteran at bat by Pickering. She crushed that ball to the left side, got herself back into the count. But Lauren Johnson, Lojo, going back and making a play on a hard line drive that took her up against the wall to be able to secure that first out. A 9-pitch at bat by Pickering.
Now, Lauren Johnson has not been the primary starter this year in left field, but this is her 8th consecutive start. Patrick Murphy staying with the hot hand. Meanwhile, the freshman Nellie McEnroe-Marinas has had the hot hand at the plate this year for Oklahoma. She is one of 14 newcomers, including 9 freshmen. Hard hit to second. Hevelin from 2 knees. 2 down.
And she's going to throw a lot of ground ball outs because of the fact that she likes to throw more down in the zone with her drop ball. This drop ball, she wants hitters to chase it down in the dirt. Oklahoma is going to have to show discipline with this pitch and make her bring it more up in the zone. That drop ball she'll throw over 60% of the time. She'll also work in a curveball and a changeup. And that off-speed pitch that she is throwing early in this game today is absolutely working, throwing it already a little bit more to these Oklahoma hitters.
Ella Parker at the plate, 2 down, and the base is clear. You mentioned Caitlin Riley earning the Game 1 start today against Oklahoma. Last 3 SEC appearances for Caitlin Riley, 12 1/3 innings pitched, just 3 earned runs. 9 strikeouts, 5 walks. 2 of those appearances against a very good LSU team, and the 3rd against Georgia. Ahead in the count here, 1-2.
And this is a start that they needed from her, to come out here and attack the zone right away. It's what she's doing. It's not something that oftentimes you see from pitchers who face Oklahoma.
gets a strikeout to end the first inning at the Rhodes House.
Of absolute brilliance. Really good stuff by the senior.
Audrey Vandegrift bunts it foul. One of the speediest players in the country, leads the nation in stolen bases for an Alabama team that is top 10 in the country in stolen bags. Part of what has made their offense so dangerous this year, not only can they get on base, but they can apply pressure once on it. And Vandegrift, one of a handful of freshman stars this weekend at the Rhodes House. Down to the count, 1-2.
Sam Landry throws with not only good velocity, and the ball feels like a heavy ball. It feels like it gets on you in a hurry, but very good spin. It's that unique blend where you're not just relying on spin and throwing 60, 61 and more of a thumber, and she's not just relying on her speed, throwing 69, 70. She has such a good blend of both of those, which just makes her so tough to go up against.
Landry with 103 strikeouts in 89 innings pitched. And part of her success this year has been the use of the staff by head coach Patty Gasso. More arms around her has allowed her not to pitch as much. And because of that, coaching staff feels like she's been fresh coming into every single SEC series so far this year.
Even getting the freshman and Audrey Lowry back, the lefty for them, adding even more depth to that staff, along with another lefty in Kirsten Deal.
Great first AB here from Vandegrift. We saw it in the top half of the inning by Cassidy Pickering. 8th pitch of the at-bat coming from Landry. And it is a strikeout of Vandegrift.
It's an off-speed pitch that she got the call on, and that's a changeup that she will throw in any count, but she will split the zone vertically with her drop and her rise. She wants you to chase that pitch, and she will mix speeds in any count of the AB. Very confident in her changeup. That's why she threw it there for a full count pitch to the first hitter that she saw in Vandegrift to get the K. Nasty drop ball. It just falls off the table. It's a pitch that she is using more this year, and that changeup she will lean on heavily.
Really got to emphasize nasty when you're talking about Sam Landry.
I mean, that pitch is moving, and it is used considerably more than the percentage that she used it at Louisiana.
2-0 to Callie Hevelin. Strike one.
Another pitch, too. Talked about her drop and her rise and her changeup, but to get back into the count against Hevelin on that 2-0, she threw a hard screwball in. It's a pitch that she's felt more comfortable with throwing consistently, working with Jen Rocha, the pitching coach at Oklahoma. Definitely made some tweaks and changes with her tools in her senior year at OU.
Hevelin crushes this to center field. It could go, and it's off the base of the wall. Hevelin into second base with a double.
Callie Heavlin is having a monster year offensively as a senior. Huge improvements in her batting average, more home runs, and look at how she gets on plane with that rise ball. 68, 69, up and in on your hands. That's not an easy pitch to barrel up, but she gets to it for extra bases and hits the sweet spot of the barrel to show the rest of her team we can get to this pitcher.
Having the best season of her career, batting average up over 100 points. And now Brooke Elstead at the plate. You talked last inning, Amanda, about how important it was to get a great start from Caitlin Riley in the circle. Went 1, 2, 3. And now it's time for the offense to do its part. Patrick Murphy told us we've been in so many of these games. 7 losses in the SEC. 4 of those by 1 run, and they feel like they've trailed often early in SEC play. The emphasis this weekend is playing from ahead against one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, and throwing that first punch. And honestly, there's nothing to necessarily show for it other than a 0 on the scoreboard in the top of the first, but I do feel like Caitlin Riley herself threw the first punch in the top of the first with how she came out pitching. Sets a tone for the team.
1-2 to Elstead. Well, Elstead leads the team with 36 runs batted in. Began her career at the University of Louisiana.
And you have to think about how this is a challenge for this OU team to come in and play in Tuscaloosa. They just had a midweek game in Oklahoma City in front of 9,000 fans against Oklahoma State, a Bedlam game. And then to go right from that midweek game and play here in Tuscaloosa, which is known for having some of the highest attendance records year after year in the country.
Well, that was a midweek game in OKC that saw over 9,000 in attendance. Patty Gasso, who knows a thing or two about playing in the Women's College World Series, said it felt that way. And they anticipate a similar environment at the Rhodes House this weekend. Go-ahead run in scoring position for Bama, 1 down, and a full count to Brooke Elstead.
And it was in that midweek game, too, that Oklahoma State scored first. They were on OU early in that game, and when you watched it, it was like the tale of 2 different halves. OU got down, didn't look sharp the first couple of innings, and then just the game turned on a dime, and OU completely took control. And then OSU was a team that didn't look put together middle to end of the game.
Oh, that got a piece of Abby Dukeshire, and now the bases are loaded for Alabama here in the bottom of the first. And guess who's coming to the plate? The starting pitcher, Caitlin Riley.
Trying to go to that screwball, and it just gets the bottom of Dukeshire's leg. You can tell Sam Landry a little bit rattled here. And the crowd starts to feel it. They pick up on it too, and it makes them want to be even louder. And talked about Coach Murphy, the importance of throwing the first punch. A huge opportunity here early in this game.
Sam Landry told you leading into the series this weekend that she'd never played in the Rhodes House before. Has played in big games, of course, at the University of Louisiana. Multiple NCAA tournament appearances. This has that feeling. And a high leverage moment early. Caitlin Riley is not in the circle, but how she swings the bat. Takes strike 1.
I mean, you saw how amped up she was and ready to pitch in that first inning. She's trying to calm herself down a little bit in the box for this moment.
Right back to Landry, will flip it home and scooped at the plate. On a nice play was Isabella Emmerling to get the lead runner.
Kind of an awkward play too by Sam Landry, but made an error on Wednesday night, but she's usually a very good fielding pitcher. Look at her. There's a lot of spin off the bat on that. You could tell it almost spun out of her glove, but she stuck with it, got the out, and almost turned 2.
2 down for Marley Giles.
Seeing Sam Landry really rely on that changeup. She told me it is my favorite pitch. I have so much trust in it. Ever since Coach Rocha came out, she's thrown that pitch a few times and heavily relied on it this inning when she's needed a strike.
0-2, 2 down, bases loaded. Landry battles back for a strikeout. And Bama strands to win it all.
She's always been really good at coaching and teaching that response factor, whether it's in-game, in-inning, or season to season. Having a response and learning those lessons taken into the next year.
Never before have they played in the regular season at the Rhodes House. This is just the second all-time meeting in Tuscaloosa between these two teams as Garcia bounces it right back to the circle. Riley has one down.
Oklahoma has hit the ball well, hard off of Riley, I should say. Already just 4 hitters, and Ella Parker had that strikeout, but the other balls that have been put in play have had some velocity to it. And as a defender for Alabama, you have to be prepared that the ball comes off of their bat a little bit harder. They don't miss hit a lot. You have to be able to make plays.
Sydney Sanders down in the count 0-1. Caitlin Riley has thrown a first pitch strike to all 5 batters she has faced so far this afternoon.
One thing that you're noticing too with this umpire strike zone is that you're getting the call more up in the zone a bit. With Riley, though, she is more of a down ball pitcher, but that off-speed pitch, she can locate it at different levels. Sam Landry has gotten a pitch called more up in the zone with her changeup, and so is Caitlin Riley. So just feeling out this strike zone early for what will be called more up in the zone.
Riley has a strikeout, her second of the game. 2 down in the second.
This is that drop ball, brings it up just enough from earlier in the at-bat to get Sanders to bite at it. Great in at-bat adjustment for the location of that pitch by Riley to get the K.
Well, now Sydney Barker with 2 down and the bases clear. A freshman from Rockland, California, has hit .310 in 42 at-bats this year.
Just so much youth and different faces in this Oklahoma lineup. Sydney Barker, another freshman. We talked about McEnroe, Marinas, and Garcia. Only a few returners from last year's starting lineup that start in this year's starting lineup for OU.
Well, and for Barker, she came in as a true shortstop. They put her in at first base, just trying to work her in. Today she's starting in right field. Tons of talent in this freshman class. And she has embraced the role of just get me on the field, wherever it is, so that I can be in the lineup.
It does seem like they want to get her in the field. I feel like she's gotten a lot of different chances in different positions. And you can just tell when Patty Gasso starts to try to find a spot for you all throughout the season, not just in the month of February, but when you get to the month of April, when these games are even bigger, She believes in you.
2-2 from Riley. And a full count now to Barker. Mention all the newcomers. 6 positional starters replaced. That's why they are so young this year. High fly ball to shallow left. Coming in a long way, Lauren Johnson. And Caitlin Riley has retired the first 6 she has faced in Tuscaloosa. No score. Patty Gasso was at Long Beach City College.
So Pat Murphy was an assistant coach underneath Yvette Gerard, another one of the greatest coaches who has a ton of wins in her own right. And him and Yvette went to Long Beach City Community College and recruited a pitcher from Patty Gasso that they got to play at Louisiana. So that was Nikki Kephart. And right away, Coach Murphy told us his story. We go back. I've known her for 30 years. And when we asked Coach Gasso about it, she was talking about how young Coach Murphy was at that time as an assistant coach. But yeah, that's where Coach Gasso started coaching at, was Long Beach City College.
Larissa Pruitt lays off the 0-2. As she told us, my memory of Patrick Murphy when I first met him, just this young, scrappy, hungry guy. He's still pretty much that scrappy, hungry guy, just maybe a tinge of gray in the beard, unlike 30 years ago.
Well, now the real full circle moment, too, is now he's facing a pitcher who transferred from Louisiana, and Sam Landry, and that's where Coach Murphy got going.
2-2 from Landry. Over to the right side, Agbayani with a bobble, and they still get Pruitt. Now, Patrick Murphy may challenge this. He's looking into his dugout on the third base side. Rarely do you see Agbayani bobble anything over at second base.
Well, and she's so fast, she can cover a lot of ground, turns her hips, gets to that ball, and that slight bobble could be what ends up making
first base.
Larissa Pruitt actually safe to get down the line. I think this one will be, man, that is about as bang as you can get. I see her as being safe. We'll see how close. When the glove starts to come around the ball is going to be what they're looking for, as well as when Pruitt's foot gets to the base, as soon as it starts to compress on the base, which is hard to see from these cameras, but we have Hawkeye system now that they're going to be looking at in Birmingham, where they do the replay review. More frames per second that they're going to be able to take a really close, good look at, because with our view here, I feel like it's just too hard to tell. I would say it would be changed to safe. But
well, right away, Patrick Murphy looked right into his dugout, motioning, should I challenge this, based on your view from the dugout.
Well, this is what Coach Murphy told us way back in February. This is the best collection of athletes, 1 to 20, that we've ever had here at Alabama. 9 green light girls is what he calls them. And Larissa Pruitt is one of those speedsters that gets down the line that even made this ground ball to second base close. So let's see.
Upon further review, the call has been upheld. The runner is out at first base. That is Alabama's first challenge.
That is about as close as it gets.
Maybe one of those situations, Amanda, where you just got to stick with the call on the field because there's not quite enough there to overturn.
Agbayani is definitely celebrating that little bobble there.
She remains perfect in the field. 112 for 112. So, 1 down and the base is clear for Salin Hawkins. And if you're just joining us, Alabama had the bases loaded, 1 down in the first, and could not capitalize. Landry bounced back with 2 strikeouts in that inning. Very reminiscent of the midweek against Oklahoma State. This is lined right into the mid of McEnroe Marinas, 2 away. Remember, in that game against OSU, Oklahoma was trailing 3-2. Bases loaded, nobody out for Oklahoma State in the fourth, and Oklahoma got out of it, and that completely shifted the momentum of that game, in the words of Patty Gasso. Lauren Johnson batting in the 9 spot.
This Oklahoma infield is just so fast. They're all new faces with the exception of Sydney Sanders over at first base, but literally any defender who is on the dirt right now, from back behind the plate to in the circle, shortstop, second, third base, is a new face for Oklahoma. And one thing that I noticed in watching them play, they cover so much ground. And I said this to you a few weeks ago, dare I say that they might have a quicker, faster, more rangy infield than even last year when they had All-Americans all around the infield.
Well, with 9 freshmen, Patty Gasso told us it's certainly one of the youngest, if not the youngest team she can remember in quite a long time. And yet they're so mature and so athletic, Amanda, that they've already exceeded her expectations in terms of how they have been ready to perform week in and week out.
Well, and they love to be coached, and that's one thing that Patty Gasso loves to do too, is that she was so excited even in the fall when you heard her talk about this team, is like, I get to coach again. Before that, it felt like they had been player-led for so long with so many veterans that had talent and success and leadership.
2-2 hugging the line, scooped in foul territory by one of those freshmen, Nellie McEnroe-Marinas.
The team just kind of felt like it ran on its own. But for Patty Gasso, she said, it's time for me to get back to teaching again, which is my favorite part of coaching, is that teaching aspect. And one thing that she loves to teach especially is defense.
Time called by the home plate umpire, Chelsea Clark. 2-2 count. 40th pitch of the game coming here for Sam Landry. And she does not quite get the strikeout. Johnson fanning at it, just got a piece.
Both of her strikeouts of the game so far have been on that changeup. Both strikeouts coming in that first inning.
Now has the strikeout, her third. And that ends the second in a score play, including an SEC home series loss to Tennessee, which was their last SEC series before this weekend here in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, they played that midweek football game against Wichita State. That 19-16 score that they pulled out on the road. So it really is like, ever since they had that first loss of the season in Columbia, Missouri against Mizzou, it's been tough for them. I mean, look, they have the biggest target on their back in college softball. Everybody wants to beat them, coaches spending hours upon hours looking at their film and their hitters and their pitchers. How do we beat Oklahoma? And so for Oklahoma fans, sometimes I think those 3 losses start to feel like the end of the world, and the players start to feel the pressure and the expectations of wearing that Oklahoma uniform after being the 4-time defending national champs since we got back from that shortened 2020 season.
1-2 count to Abigail Dayton.
But they've definitely gotten challenged these past couple of weeks. In the SEC, the level of play in the SEC now that they are in this conference is definitely a step up from what they faced in the Big 12.
Moving into the SEC for their first year of competition, ending an era of domination in the Big 12. They won 24 league titles in the Big 12, as that just misses to Dayton. 2-2 is up the middle and into center field. And the first hitter aboard today for Oklahoma comes in the third. Well, the inaugural League One Volleyball Championship match is Sunday afternoon, 4 Eastern, right here on ESPN2. Omaha will take on Austin for the title. Isabella Emmerling at the plate.
This first time through the order that Caitlin Riley has been showing this off-speed curveball to Oklahoma. It's been very effective. Emmerling hunting early, swinging early. She throws that off-speed curveball. That is her change-up type pitch. And it has been moving.
Well, for Alabama, replacing Kayla Beaver, who was the ace last year, there was some discussion about who would take that over this year. As this is launched into left and foul, Caitlin Riley has sort of solidified herself in SEC play as the Game 1 starter. Transferring over from Ole Miss, has pitched in many a big game for the Rebels. 3 postseason appearances in her time in Oxford.
Coach Murphy really liked her fire and her demeanor pitching last weekend in Baton Rouge at LSU. He mentioned how well her last 3 SEC appearances have been, and 2 of them were in Baton Rouge. Just another tough place to play.
Good block by Marley Giles, with Abigail Dayton over at first base. First base runner of the day for Oklahoma here in the third. The 1-2.
You know, you hit the transfer portal looking for something new. And for Caitlin Riley, she's getting a hit a little bit more. Last year at Ole Miss, she only pitched 79 innings, and she's already surpassing that in this game.
Runner takes off. Throw down has Dayton in a pickle. And they will get Dayton for the first out of the inning.
Looked like Dayton saw that throw was going to beat her, and so she just put on the brakes right here. Like, okay, I'm going to get thrown out. Let me get myself into a pickle and see if I can get them to make a mistake. And ends up going out of the baseline toward right field, and going to be an out for Bama.
Just the 4th time this year that Dayton's been caught stealing, and back-to-back outs. What a turn of events for Caitlin Riley after giving up a leadoff base hit.
The first pitch Emmerling saw is also the last pitch that she sees. Off-speed curveball for the first swing and miss, the first strike, and then gets the strikeout with that same pitch.
So with 2 down and the bases clear, taking on the 9-hitter Ailana Agbayani, Riley has a chance to face the minimum through 3.
It's just not easy to come in here and play in the stadium. It's a sold-out crowd, and everybody wants to see Oklahoma play in person. Everybody wants to see their favorite team play Oklahoma in person.
Agbayani to the left side, Hawkins there, and a 1-2-3 inning for Caitlin Riley. No score, middle of the third here in Tuscaloosa. Print on this rich Alabama softball program. More stolen bases than 7 SEC teams have this year.
So many different ways to get on. She can hit for a little bit of power and get on. She can walk, and then a walk turns into a double with her speed. She can lay down a drag that the corners have to respect. At third base, Nellie McEnroe Marinas creeping in. But at the end of the day, we can sit here and talk all about her talent and her speed. But what Coach Murphy loves to point out is just how coachable she has been since she set foot on campus. Has had a mindset to learn and take everything in that these coaches want to tell her. Good screw ball there. Get that second strike from Landry. No expectations coming in. Said she was just going to listen to anything that any coach told her. She was just going to say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, when she came in here.
Into center, giving chase. Dayton, who will not get there. Vandegrift trying to stretch it to second, and she will. The wheels of the 100-meter state track champion, stretching a single to a double to lead off the bottom of the third.
Fights off this rise ball just enough to find a hole in the outfield. And then, of course, she gets to first, but she does not really slow down a little bit to touch first base, but then sees it down, instantly gets to second, and has had big time, that competitive energy when she steals a base or has a big hit.
Callie Hevelin has already doubled in this game. That was back in the first, in which Bama had the bases loaded. Arguably the fastest player in the SEC in scoring position.
You can see at second base how close her feet start together when she gets her lead. She'll do the same thing at first when she's about to steal, but see how close they are together right now. When she gets down into her start position to get her lead, that's where she stays. That is so unique, and that is all her track background.
All-state in multiple events, the 100-meter, the 200-meter, and the relays. How does this start compare to Amanda Scarborough's start?
Not quite the same, but I look like an average softball player with my start position there.
This is looping in the right field, giving chase Agbayani. Vandegrift is going to tag up on a fly ball that gets 10 yards into the outfield.
And that's why Audrey Vandegrift is able to take third base on a shallow fly ball to down the right field line, because she knows her speed. Speed is her game. She takes pride in it. She's always going to push the limits, and she easily gets to third base. But that position that she puts herself in helps get even more out of her athletic talent.
Into left field, caught. Vandegrift will tag, and Alabama takes the lead on a set fly by Brooke Elstead.
And this is why that speed was so critical to get her to third base. On a miss-hit out to right field, her speed got her to third, and then a sacrifice fly scores her for the first run of this game.
2 down and the base is empty for Abby Dukeshire. And Sam Landry calls time. This is the start Alabama desired in game 1 against the second-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Striking first. A point of emphasis by Patrick Murphy this week with his team. Again, 4 of their 7 SEC losses by just 1 run. They have been knocking on the door with a team that is also young. Popped up right side and called off. Landry. Sanders makes the catch. Patrick Murphy will join us on the broadcast next with a 1-run lead after 3 in Tuscaloosa. And now taking on Cassidy Pickering, second time through. Equally interesting will be, how does Oklahoma adjust its approach at the plate second time through?
Interested to see specifically how they handled that off-speed curveball that Caitlin Riley threw for such a high percentage the first time through the order. That's an example of it right there. Just locate on the outside corner, and a really good take by Pickering to get this into a hitter's count.
So often over the first 3 innings, it was Riley pitching from ahead. 2-1 up the middle, backhanded on a diving play by Heaviland, but not in time. Throw gets away, but Giles doing a nice job of backstopping at first base, keeps Pickering at bay.
She just continues to put together quality at bat after quality at bat. She's reached base in 17 straight games on a 15-game hit streak, playing big and playing out of her mind right now.
Time called at home. Nelly McEnroe-Marinas batting just a touch under 390. The redshirt freshman from Hawaii on a tear. You know, you talk about Cassidy Pickering riding that 15-game hit streak. 7 home runs for Nelly McEnroe-Marinas over the first 12 SEC games. So confident right now in just her first season on the diamond for Patty Gasso. High fly ball right field, shielding the sun, Pruitt, and makes the catch, 1 away. Well, our next NWSL match is Sunday right here on ESPN2 and also on ESPN Plus. Bay Football Club hosting the Chicago Stars in San Jose. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern right here on ESPN2. Tying run aboard for Ella Parker, who has dealt with injury much of this season. In fact, she was wearing a boot right up until first pitch. Chopper off the glove of Riley, spinning to make the throw in time at first base. What a play by the Ole Miss transfer. 2 down in the 4th.
What a play by Caitlin Riley to stick with this. Pops it up to herself, then gathers herself to make that play. And what's so hard about that, if you're a pitcher wearing a face mask, is because she looked up, her face mask is all in her eyes. So she almost makes a blinded throw to first base. Because what you see that mask and it moves around. It doesn't just stay in the exact same position. So as the ball hits off of her, she's pitching, it's moving around. When she went to make that throw, her mask had moved and was all in her eyes.
Gabby Garcia launches this to center. Vandegrift is there to make the catch. Riley pitches around a leadoff infield single. Oklahoma trailing by 1. We'll chat.
I mean, has an incredible following as well.
Riley chopped. Some miscommunication there between Landry and Emmerling, but Emmerling eventually makes the play, 1 down. Yeah, these are 2 of the great fan bases in college softball. And of course, Oklahoma has won the last 4 national championships. Alabama has played in 4 of the last 5 Women's College World Series. So much momentum and hype, particularly right now in this stretch of 5 years for these 2 programs, as Marlee Giles makes her second plate appearance today.
Yeah, it's really like everywhere they go, they just continue to set records.
Yeah.
You know, and think about even Oklahoma playing at Love's Field. They continue to set records there and play in large crowds. Whoever they play against, they pack that stadium. They had a record-setting crowd whenever they played Missouri. I think there was something on the
A ball
field.
made it into the right field.
Speaking of fans, out in right field.
Those folks were lining up hours before first pitch. 2-0, sharply hit, backhanded at first. Sanders at top of the bag, 2 down.
That was good contact, though, by Marlee Giles, who struck out on her last at bat. Good adjustment. Her second AB, no strikeouts, the second time through the order against Landry. And Landry is more of a strikeout pitcher. Alabama's approach at the plate has been good against her to only have 3 strikeouts so far. And all 3 were the first time that they faced her through the lineup.
Had over 100 strikeouts in less than 90 innings pitched coming into the weekend at Landry. And a first pitch strike to Larissa Pruitt.
Throwing more drop balls this year, Sam Landry is. Last year at Louisiana, she threw that drop ball just 19% of the time. This year, throwing her drop ball 33% of the time, so almost doubling it. But what has increased significantly is her swing and miss rate. Up 30%, getting 30% more swings and misses on her drop ball, which is a pitch obviously she's been throwing more. But in this game, I've seen her pull out that rise ball more than I expected.
Pruitt takes the 0-2 into right field, tailing foul and just out of the reach of a sliding Barker.
I was in the air for a long time. And speaking of rise ball, I mean, this pitch was at Pruitt's eyes. Look at the location of this pitch, that she's able to get her barrel up to that pitch and was just in the sky for a long time. Gave Sydney Barker a long time to run to try to attempt to catch it. Sam Landry is from Mont Belvieu, Texas, went to Barbers Hill High School, just has a deep history of Division I pitchers come from that school. Randy Rupp and Jessica Mullins, Sophia Simpson, who is at Texas right now.
1-2-3 inning for the Louisiana transfer from Mont Belvieu. 1-0 Bama after 4 in Tuscaloosa.
He always shows and talks about that moment. In fact, Oklahoma had a 3-1 lead, and we're facing a lefty hitter, Marissa Runyon. Paige Parker in the circle as a freshman, lefty on lefty matchup, and then Runyon hit that grand slam to win it. A moment that is one of the most epic moments, goosebump moments in super regional history. And it's, you know, the game that ended Chamberlain and Penley, Lauren Chamberlain and Shelby Penley's season. Everything was riding on Paige Parker that year. And then it was next year, after Paige Parker being heartbroken after the season ending that way, that she came back with vengeance and won a national championship that very next year.
First walk of the game for Patty Gasso's Oklahoma Sooners. By the way, they came back that next year in 2016 and won it all. One of 8 national titles won by Patty Gasso at Oklahoma. Tia Malloy pinch running at first base for Sydney Sanders. Sydney Barker at the plate for Oklahoma. Nobody out, top 5, and a 1-run Alabama lead. Well, you heard Patty Gasso last inning tell us that her team was guessing a little bit too much at the plate first time through the order. Second time through, wanted to see them be a bit choosier. Better pitch selection. Leadoff walk certainly helps that effort by Sydney Sanders.
And she had a meeting with them in between innings. Pull the team together, and she was the one talking to them, which oftentimes you'll see JT Gasso, their hitting coach and one of the best hitting coaches in the country, her son, be the one that kind of rallies the troops on offense. But there was clearly a message that Coach Gasso wanted to send to them in between innings.
One-two into left field, headed towards the gap. It is down for a base hit. Malloy will stay put at second base on a nice throw in by Lauren Johnson. Back-to-back aboard for the first time today for Oklahoma.
Look at Sydney Barker stay in her legs to stay with that off-speed pitch. Just sunk into her legs to try to keep her barrel with that pitch as long as she possibly could. That was a freshman on a 1-2 count and hitting a pitch, taking it away from Caitlin Riley, that off-speed curveball that has been so successful for her in this game. Great adjustments and back-to-back plate appearances by Sydney Sanders to draw that walk, and then that 1-2 swing on the off-speed curveball by the freshman to get a hit.
Well, Sunday is the final day of the NBA regular season, if you can believe it. Playoff positions on the line. Our ESPN doubleheader starts at 1 Eastern with the Pistons and the Bucks, followed by Clippers, Warriors. Both matchups pit teams in the thick of the playoff hunt in the East and in the West. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown, noon Eastern. Go-ahead run is aboard with nobody out in the fifth. Abigail Dayton drops down a bunt. Coming in from third to make the play is Elstead. Both runners advance, one down.
Really a perfect situation if you're Oklahoma to have Abby Dayton up in that short game situation. Runners at first and second, no outs. To be able to lay down a bunt and advance them 60 feet. She has such good barrel control, a lot of different tools that she can use and did use to put down that bunt to advance them.
Well, don't let Isabella Emmerling's batting average fool you. 12 of her 22 hits are for extra bases, including 9 home runs. She is made for these moments. Down one with 2 on and 1 out. Right back to Riley, looking Malloy back to third, 2 away.
Another statement of a play by Riley. That ball was hit hard. She gets herself into a good fielding position to be prepared to field her position after she releases the ball. Great reacts. That easily could have gotten past her and up the middle of the field for a run or 2 for Oklahoma.
Agbayani to second, Hathaway to first. Major statement by Caitlin Riley, stranding 2. Bama maintaining a 1-run lead.
Her out, so really made some noise in the softball world, wondering about that move.
Pop up by Saylin Hawkins to Gabby Garcia, 1 away.
Carlin Pickens was last year's SEC Pitcher of the Year, set that record for 78 mile an hour, the fastest pitch ever thrown, and she pitched that first inning, Matt, and then came out. So really interesting to see that happen. Texas, of course, with the best pitching staff in the SEC, led by Tegan Cavan, who pitched last night, shut down Tennessee's offense.
It was a game that Texas won 3-0 at home. And now trying to take the series from Tennessee and maintain their top position in the SEC. Right behind them in the SEC standings, Oklahoma. Lauren Johnson at the plate, second time through in the 9 spot. Drops down a bunt, fielding her position well is Sam Landry, 2 away.
Lauren Johnson trying to use her speed to get down the line. Sam Landry made this play look really easy. Of course, with the velocity that she pitches with, the ball flew off of her bat. But look at how Sydney Sanders is anchored back. So Sam Landry knows that she has to go well toward the first base line to be able to field that ball. Like, that's just understanding and communicating on defense. Easily you could say, okay, well, that ball is angled down toward the first base line, so Sid's got it, like, no worries, but they communicate before every play to know that Sam Landry is going to have a bunt on that side and Sydney Sanders will anchor back.
Landry, a proven winner. 3 seasons at Louisiana, led the Ragin' Cajuns in wins all 3 years, and was top 10 in the nation last year with 24 wins in the circle. Ahead in the count, 0-2 with 2 down and the base is clear.
Yeah,
and ball 1 to Vandegrift.
Those glasses are absolutely her trademark. She said she started wearing them her junior year of high school, and she can't even remember why she started wearing them on this day, but it was playoffs her junior year, wore the glasses, and threw her first ever perfect game. So now she wears them ever since. And they have to be clear glasses, by the way. She has black frames too, and maybe some other ones, but she is known for this glasses look, which Christina Hamilton, who pitched at Louisiana, also had some frames that she wore. So she ended up going to Louisiana and was, compared to Christina Hamilton because of their talent and success, but of course because of the glasses look too.
That's a good reason to keep wearing them.
Absolutely. She said she's really superstitious, obviously, and has just been wearing them ever since. And little girls now look up to her and notice that she wears glasses and are inspired to wear glasses on the softball field as well because of her. She gets a lot of messages on Instagram about it.
Gets a strikeout of Vandegrift to end the inning. Landry's 4th.
Series got a lot of experience pitching in tandem with Kayla Beaver, who had an All-American year after transferring from Central Arkansas to Alabama. And this year, she's had some ups and downs, some really bright moments and some moments where she struggled to be able to command the strike zone. And there actually is Kayla Beaver sitting by Emily Pitag, who gets this crowd all rowdy on top of the Alabama dugout.
3-1 count to Pickering.
The thing that Bruschi is going to have to do is throw strikes. When she throws strikes, she has really good spin and movement, vertical break both down and up, rely on that drop ball a ton.
Shallow pop-up at second. It's Hedlund, 1 away.
She's going to throw in her drop ball, both sides of the plate, similar to Caitlin Riley, although Bruschi will rely on her rise ball a little bit more, throw in the mid-60s. Again, good vertical separation that she gets with her rise and drop will feed her infield a lot of ground balls.
Nellie McEnroe-Marine is trying to start a rally in the 6th.
It's just hard to believe that this is just Nellie McEnroe-Marinas' first year. And Coach Gasso said, I've never thought of her as a freshman this year. She felt like a returner. She was there last year, but didn't play. One of the captains on this team.
Sharply hit to first, 2 away on the tap by Dukeshire. Well, the inaugural League One Volleyball Championship match is Sunday afternoon, 4 Eastern, right here on ESPN2. Omaha taking on Austin for the inaugural championship. These two programs synonymous with championship play. Oklahoma, 4-time defending national champs. Bama won it all in 2012. They have been 4 out of the last 5 years to the Women's College World Series. And that 2012 title, the first by an SEC team. Followed up by Florida a couple of years later. 1-1 to Ella Parker. Down in the count, 1-2. Parker to second. Hevelin completes a 1-2-3 inning out of the bullpen for Jocelyn Brisky. And it's a 1-0 lead for Alabama as we head to the bottom of the 6th in Tuscaloosa.
Potentially against Oklahoma and Florida and Missouri and South Carolina, you really have an opportunity to bolster up your resume to make a push to host.
Oh, what a shot up the middle by Kelly Hevelin, her second time aboard this afternoon.
And it's like, for Alabama, as Callie Hevelin just crushes this ball right back up the middle of the field. For Alabama, kind of a bubble team as it looks right now when you look at their RPI and what they have left to host a regional, to grab a top 16 seed. For Oklahoma, their RPI sits at about 9 right now. And so they're looking like a bubble team right now to grab a top 8 seed, which would host a super regional, which is definitely what you want to do with being able to have that home field advantage, advancing 75% of the time when you host a regional and when you host a super.
Bart dropped down and a diving play behind the plate by Isabella Emmerling to catch Brooke Elstead. How about that athleticism by the starting catcher?
That is a huge out, known for her pop in the way that she receives, but now she's receiving in a different way. Popped up bunt, reads it, lays out for it, and understands too that Nellie McEnroe-Marinas is not going to be able to get to it, that she is their best chance to get an out. Nellie McEnroe-Marinas avoids running into her to finish that play.
1 on, 1 out for Abby Dukeshire. 1-run lead for Alabama. I want to go back to something you talked about, the importance of hosting a super regional. Going into last year, since 2005, nearly 75% of teams to host a super advanced to the Women's College World Series. Of course, ironically, Alabama was one of the teams on the other side of that, going to Knoxville, upsetting Tennessee to make back-to-back Women's College World Series appearances. But wouldn't it be something to see Alabama on the road for a regional and Oklahoma potentially on the road for a super?
Which Alabama on the road for a regional has never happened before, and got some work to do here at the end of the season. It'll come down to selection committee looking through resumes and doing some comparisons.
Double play opportunity here, and it is made slickly by the freshman at short, Gabby Garcia. So Oklahoma and Gabby Garcia, meat of the lineup here for Oklahoma. Amanda, down to its final 3 outs.
And you know that Oklahoma is not going to go away easy. Just a 1-run lead for Alabama.
Is that a fair ball? It was, and the runner is safe on the bobble by Dukeshire. And now Patrick Murphy coming out. He wants to chat with home plate umpire Chelsea Clark.
Looked to me like the ball hit the bat when it came down.
Right there.
Or maybe it went just over it. Sneaky bunt by Gabby Garcia. Great idea to lay that down. Right? Does look like it hits it. And the question can be, I believe too, Matt, did the ball hit the bat or did the bat hit the ball? It can be a very different outcome. To me, it looked like the ball hit the bat, which I think would make this play to stand. But they're also, I don't believe anything was called on the field.
Tatum Stotling, Scott Mayer, Chelsea Clark conferring here right in front of the pitcher's circle. Oklahoma has only had 4 base runners through the first 6 innings. Are we going to have a review here? Here's Scott Mayer.
Alabama is challenging a runner's lane violation.
Oh, okay, really took a right turn. Yeah, and I think that We've seen this a lot, even on this field, a runner interference. So we'll need to take a look at where Gabby Garcia is running and if it interfered with Callie Heflin taking the ball at first base. That's what we're going to be looking for. So we'll see where Gabby Garcia was running. Does she ever get into the runner's lane? Doesn't look like it to me. And so then the question is, did it interfere with Callie Heflin taking the ball at first base? And I think that you could make the argument that it absolutely did.
Second challenge by Alabama today. Patrick Murphy challenged early in the game.
Upon further review, there was no runner's lane violation. The Alabama runner is safe at first base. That is Alabama's second challenge.
And both times today, he is challenged to no avail. So Gabby Garcia is aboard.
This is one where it's subjective and we can go over it in our weekly calls and talk to the umpires about it, but I feel like sometimes you're just going to get different subjective calls with if that was or was not batter runner interference. I was really confident about, because I had seen that exact play happen right here, sitting in my exact same seat in the Alabama-Georgia game. And I really thought I was going to get that one right, but
rarely do you get it quote-unquote wrong. I'm not even going to say you got it wrong because it's so subjective.
Either way, Gabby Garcia with a great idea to lay down a bunt to get on base down by 1 run in the 7th inning.
Garcia represents the tying run at first. 2-0 count to Sydney Sanders. 3-0. And now Marley Giles going to trot out to the circle. You talked about it earlier when Jocelyn Brisky took over in the 6th. At times this year, she has struggled with accuracy. This is not the team you want to struggle with accuracy against.
It's probably going to be just a full-fledged take here by Sydney Sanders, who walked also on her last at-bat.
Oklahoma's second in the country in walks, second in the country in on-base percentage. Today they have just 1 walk, fewest in a game so far this year. And now a full count to Sanders.
Well, and they haven't had many base runners either. When you look at what they've done all year, this is actually the least amount of base runners that they've had up to this point. Only 4 base runners that they've had on base coming into this inning. Gabby Garcia would be the 5th. Their second lowest total was 7 against Missouri a couple of weeks ago.
Our next NWSL match is Sunday right here on ESPN2 and the Plus. Bay Football Club hosting the Chicago Stars in San Jose. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. 3-2 is in for a strike and 1 down in the 7th.
Looked like Sydney Sanders was looking to walk in that at-bat. An impressive job by Brisky to get back into the count. She fell behind 3-0, worked her way back in, and the umpire back behind the plate has had a higher zone. And Brisky gets the call with the change that we have seen called several times since the first inning.
Pinch hitting here for Sydney Barker. Had a monster home run against Oklahoma State during the midweek in Oklahoma City. That was a major momentum shifter in the game. One of a pair of home runs she has hit this year. But 1-0 from Brisky. Strike 1.
Nobody has left their seat. Not to go to the bathroom, not to go to the concession stand. Everybody is staying put for this inning.
1-2.
It's a player in Maya Bland, too, that the team really rallies around, Coach Gasso told us. Brisky getting another high strike call to get the second strike of this AB.
Line drive into right field. Back on it is Bruin. It is gone! Oklahoma takes the lead on a pinch hit bomb by Maya Bland.
Just too predictable. I just said nobody has moved from their spot, and I bet more than half of the fans could predict that a changeup was coming, and Bland was one of those people sitting back on a changeup that is right down the heart of the plate, not fooled at all. Saw her teammate, the hitter before, strike out on the changeup. She makes the most of it with 2 strikes. What a moment for Maya Bland. Again, what a week for her.
Multiple home runs now for Bland this week in major spots. And she puts Oklahoma ahead for the first time in this game in the top of the 7th with a 1 down. And now a 2-0 count to Abigail Dayton.
And that's why that bunt single by Gabby Garcia was so important. It was a great idea, but I just have to go back to the no call of batter-runner interference when I was almost sure that that's what it was going to be. Huge call, because that home run would have tied up this game instead of giving OU the lead.
This crowd went from fever pitch to almost dead silent. And Alabama with 7 losses in SEC play, 4 by 1 run, many of those blown leads late in games.
Yeah, unfortunately for Alabama, if you're an Alabama fan, you've seen this happen all throughout the year, that you have the lead late in the game but just cannot finish in the 6th or in the 7th inning. And my goodness, for as happy as OU fans are and teammates are for Maya Bland and Patty Gasso, the other side is Jocelyn Brisky. And how much that hurts to see the pitch come out of your hand and leave the ballpark. Knowing how well she's been pitching. Came in 3 up, 3 down inning in the top of the 6th, fed off of the momentum that Caitlin Riley started this game with, and had that strikeout of Sydney Sanders. Looked like everything was going her way. Got ahead of Bland 1-2.
Dayton draws a walk. Second of the day for Oklahoma. And now the opportunity to gain some insurance runs here in the top of the 7th, with Alabama bringing 5, 6, and 7 to the plate in the bottom half. And Katie Lee McKay will pinch it for Isabella Emmerling in the 8th spot.
Gosh, this game is just such a game of momentum. You can feel it on the field, you can feel it in the dugout, and of course you can feel it in the stands. Like we might see a pitching change here.
Patrick Murphy out of the dugout looking towards the bullpen, as is Jocelyn Brisky. A game that Alabama has controlled in so many ways. Remember, they had the bases loaded back in the 1st inning, unable to come around and score. Thought that might be a big momentum shifter, but they responded a few innings later to score the only run of the game until the 7th. We will have a pitching change as Brisky heads to the dugout. We'll step aside for a moment in Tuscaloosa. 2-1 OU. And now a hitter's count to Lee McKay.
You know, the best feeling if you're a visiting team having to play on the road is that silence that you talked about from the crowd. Oh my gosh, I used to love that. Now, using your word, conversely, when the crowd is really loud and really in it, you feel not the same. But when you can quiet the crowd the way that Maya Bland did with that home run, that is the best feeling.
Bounce to second base, and Dukeshire could not get back to the bag in time. On the flip by Hevelin, both runners are safe.
It's one where you just need to know where you're at on the field and how far away that was going to pull Dukeshire. Then she stumbled to get back to first. Her cleat slid in the dirt, and she didn't get good enough footing to be able to get back to first safely, or in time, I should say, and it allowed her, McKay, to be safely at first. That's why people love our sport, Matt, because it is so bang, quick plays, things move, especially on defense, where if you aren't perfect, if you stumble a little bit, it's a difference between safe and out.
Well, now Cheney Helton will come in pinch run at first base. Now, you talk about silencing crowds, and in your conversation with Sam Landry this week, she told us this is the first time I've ever played at the Rhodes House. But one of the things she relishes playing on the road in an Oklahoma uniform is the chance to silence the opposing crowd. And her offense doing it on a pinch hit Maya Bland 2-run homer to give OU its first lead of the series. And now if you're Ailey Johnson, this is damage control. Can you keep it a 1-run game heading into the home half of the 7th? With the 5, 6, and 7 batters due up on a snap throw down to second, not in time, but close by Marley Giles.
First and foremost, you've just got to throw strikes. A try by Giles. That throw was on the money and really close to get the second out.
Abigail Dayton's having fun over there at second base. She has stolen 12 bags this year. Though remember, back in the third, she was caught stealing for the 4th time this season. Here's the 3-1. Down the left field line, fair ball. Here comes Dayton, she will score, and they'll put the stop sign on Hilton. It's an RBI double by Ailana Agbayani.
Beautiful piece of hitting there by Ailana Agbayani, just going outside, getting that pitch. I mean, shortening up, compact swing to the left side. Line drive down the line. I mean, that was beautiful. Turns over the order now, and a hot Cassidy Pickering is going to come up in this inning that has already been a big inning for OU.
And another pitching change for Patrick Murphy. Some words of encouragement to his infield, who has played so cleanly today until this point. Don't forget, this is just game 1 of the series. We'll be back here tomorrow at 6 Eastern, 5 Central for game 2 over on the SEC Network. And then the series finale Monday night, 7 Eastern. It's another Mic'd Up Monday on SEC Network. Boy, what a change in momentum. Oklahoma held scoreless till the start of the 7th. They're now going to see their 3rd pitcher in this inning for Alabama. And it is Caitlin Riley coming back into the circle. She started the game and went 5 innings.
And she threw really well. A quality start for her, and she'll come back into this game. They took her out after Oklahoma went 2 times through the lineup. So for the 3rd time when Cassidy Pickering was coming back up, they took her out. And to think, Matt, that this inning started, this 3-run comeback of an inning started with this play, the Gabby Garcia bunt that to me could have been a runner interference play, a lane violation there, and just not getting called. But that's how this big inning started for Oklahoma. Again, a well-executed bunt, great idea by Gabby Garcia to lay it down. Alabama couldn't come up with the out or get the call when it was reviewed. And then Maya Bland hit the 2-run home run as a pinch hitter and a 1-2 count to give them the lead.
Cheney Helton at third, Ailana Agbayani at second, and Cassidy Pickering, who reached earlier in this game to extend her hit streak to 15 at the plate for Oklahoma. Line drive left field, another run will score. And Oklahoma has opened up the game in the 7th. They lead by 3.
Every run that they score just gives them more and more confidence to go out in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now an even bigger cushion. Cassidy Pickering, another good piece of hitting. That is 2 lefties in a row, just slashing the ball to the left side, going with that outside pitch, and committing to the swing, like Coach Gasso said in her mid-game interview.
Runners at the corners for Nelly McEnroe-Marinas. This is the merry-go-round you can ride on when Oklahoma plate, and they just find ways to get on. So good at passing the bat and keeping rallies alive. Bunt drop down, and it is picked up in fair territory. So another run comes in. They get McEnroe-Marinas first, but Agbayani makes it 5-1.
I mean, just pouring salt on the wound at this point with a couple of hard hit balls and then a squeeze that Coach Gasso calls with McEnroe-Marinas, who leads their team in home runs in SEC play, laying it down, great execution, and Agbayani was running on that pitch, and all of a sudden Oklahoma has a 4-run lead.
And they have officially batted around in the inning. Ella Parker, the 9th player to come to the plate for OU in the 7th. All 5 runs scored in this inning for the Sooners.
A bit of a lack of communication too on that squeeze play. I mean, Marley Giles was the one who ended up fielding that bunt right on the squeeze, and better communication, she would have known that the runner was essentially stealing home and could have turned around, potentially get her into a rundown, but it looked like, or potentially even let the ball roll foul to see if it was going to roll foul on that play. A lot of different options. She chose to go one, and Agbayani easily was able to score, but didn't look like a lot of communication going on to prevent that run.
To third, long throw is made by Elstead, and Alabama has a large mountain to climb, trailing by 4. Thanks.
Sam Landry has really pitched a great game. Not easy to come in here and pitch in front of this crowd. Fell behind in the 3rd inning when Alabama scored that 1 run, but she has just kept chugging along. You've really seen what she's capable of, especially too just finding a different way to get out. Just 4 strikeouts on the day for her with Alabama's good approach, but still finding ways to get outs, mix her pitches, different variety of outs with fly ball outs, ground ball outs.
Ground ball here, and a quick flip to first, 1 away.
And then fielding her position like that. She can cover so much ground, very confident in fielding her position. Seen her do this 2 or 3 times in this game. Sydney Sanders knows that she can stay back because of how well Sam Landry can field her position.
She will take on another pinch hitter in Alexis Papillo. Landry has been so good this year. Sub-2 ERA, 12-2 in the circle. 2 outs away from her 13th win. And 2 outs away from a resume boosting win for Oklahoma. Just outside the top 8 in the RPI entering the weekend. Patty Gasso told us, their goal is to be somewhere in that 1 through 5 range, solidify a home super regional if they get to that point.
She took it upon herself to teach her young team how RPI works, why it's important whenever it's a selection show in May and the top 8 and top 16 seeds come out. She used it as another teaching moment. She said she likes to do the teaching, to be her favorite part of coaching is teaching out on the field, but got to teach them something different about RPI and strength of schedule and how it works. So their RPI right now is 9. They just have those 3 losses all within the past couple of weeks. Strength of schedule is 41, and I'm interested to see if that strength of schedule with a really soft non-conference strength of schedule in particular comes back to haunt Oklahoma and keeps them out of a top 8 seed. We'll see. So many games left to be played. They have to be able to finish strong and keep winning, as winning and your win percentage is a large part of what goes into the decisions.
3-1 to Papillo. Takes a strike. Part of that conversation, too, is the other side of the coin. Are they in this position with such a young team, replacing so many of the starters from last year, if they had had their traditionally really tough non-conference slate? It's a big motivating factor for Patty Gasso scheduling the way she did early in the season.
Yeah, I can definitely see why you'd want to take that route as a coach. You know that you're to be graduating legacy type players, one of the best classes, or maybe the best class to ever play our sport, and have a really young, different team. So in February and March, want to play a little bit of a softer schedule, knowing that SEC play awaits you.
Papillo putting together a nice at bat here, fighting off the 3-2. As Larissa Pruitt due up behind her, then Saylin Hawkins and Lauren Johnson. Alabama down 4 in the bottom of the 7th. After trailing by 1 entering the inning. Leading by 1, rather.
God, you just know, Matt, how defeating feeling it is if you're wearing an Alabama uniform or an Alabama fan to feel like, all right, we got this one. We're up by 1 against the defending champs. We basically just had control of this game through the first 6 innings, and then 7th inning comes and it's just totally changed.
Papillo goes down on strikes, the 5th of the day for Sam Landry, and Bama down to its final out.
Good at bat by Papillo coming off the bench, but this is just a pitch right down the middle that she just didn't look like she was expecting. That caught a lot of plate, looked like it was right down Main Street, but wasn't anticipating maybe to see a pitch that good in that count.
Well, Kennedy Marceau will be the 3rd pinch hitter used in this inning, batting in place of Larissa Pruitt. This game certainly did not disappoint the first time these teams have met as conference foes, and the first time they have met at the Rhodes House in the regular season. Furious comeback attempt by Oklahoma is solidified on the 6th strikeout of the game for Sam Landry. Her 13th win, and putting the exclamation point on a 5-run 7th inning in comeback fashion.
Great start and complete game thrown by Sam Landry. And I mean, if there is anything that we know about Oklahoma is that they just do not go away. Biggest target on their back in college softball. Everybody wants to be able to say that they beat them, but Oklahoma just feels like they always have the last word. What a comeback win. 5 runs in the top of the 7th inning. That pinch hit home run on a changeup. Unbelievable moment.
They had just 4 base runners all game entering the 7th, Oklahoma. And they find a way to plate 5 on 5 hits, overcoming a 1-run deficit in front of a sold-out Rhodes House crowd. And it really all started with a pinch hit home run by Maya Bland, giving Oklahoma its first lead